excuse me, but all the gang members knew I was pregnant. All the doctors knew I was pregnant. The police officers was coming up to the infirmary trying to get nurses not to confirm my pregnancy. There were racist white women not confirming my pregnancy. There were wicked black women not confirming my pregnancy. There were racist males trying to harm me in the cells in the back of the units. And so I basically knew that when I got out, it was a blessing for me to have got out alive. And for my baby to still be moving and me still be alive. So when I tried to call different shelters after being in different people's homes where they were setting me up, they were trying to do things to me in their home to try to make me out to be a crazy patient. They were tampering with my food. They were starving me. They were trying to get women to fight me in all of the homes. The males were trying to fight me. And I believe that these were a lot of the people who would have been involved in my death had I have died in the back of the Montgomery County Jail. So they took my apartment and my son illegally. And so now I was in the hands of all these different people who knew that I was vulnerable and who were the ones trying to harm me and make me out to be a mental patient. So I left their homes because I'm like, I'm not with this. And I didn't really understand what they were doing at first. But I kept falling into different traps with a different gang member picking me up. And they didn't disclose they were gang members or that they were trying to get charges dropped or that they were trying to harm us. They did not disclose this information. They came to me as an angel of light, pretending that they wanted to help. And then it wasn't until they got me comfortable in their homes where they started stealing and trying to starve me. And then when I would call the police, they were getting angry because James Harris went to jail for pulling a gun on me when I proved to the Harris County Police Department that he had no right to pull a gun on me in his home. And he was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon because he was threatening to shoot me if I did not stop telling you guys on the camera about what was going on in the home. And so now these people are catching charges for what they're doing to me, and they're angry. And so they are coming at us full force. And now this is the part about the shelters. So I was trying to go to the shelters, and they stole my identification to try to keep me from going to the shelter. So when I went to the Salvation Army in Conroe, they denied me, knowing who I am, they denied me to be able to go into the shelter after I had walked 60 to 70 miles from gang members' homes where they set this up to get to the shelter. And I wanted to be closer to my son in the area where I had been living, knowing they tried to murder me. And that was brave for me. But the main thing that the Holy Spirit wants me to reveal to you all right now is that they have these white women in these shelters who are supposedly trying to test people for COVID before they come into the shelters. I've already been tested for COVID in the hospitals. I don't know how, but God said they did test me. They took a lot of blood from me. They tested me. I don't have COVID. And so the Holy Spirit let me know that what they're trying to do right now is that they want to leave me in the hands of gang members and civilians who are involved with trying to have me murdered and trying to cover up my pregnancy. So basically, they're also trying to leave me on the streets like I'm a crackhead prostitute, to not keep custody of my child when I give birth, and to not be able to get my son back, and to keep the rest of the population believing that I deserve to be mistreated the way that the country is mistreating me. So basically, they have some white women set up to do intake in the facilities where they are having the shelters for women and women of domestic violence. And these women are planning to try to test me, saying, knowing that I've already been tested for COVID and I don't have it. So they are trying to get these women to test me and try to say that I have COVID. And these women, their only goal is to make a score for white supremacy. So they're not really good at anything And the only thing that they are really trying to accomplish for the system is to basically lie and say that I have COVID so they can have me killed. Because, of course, you can quarantine the mother and you can lie about her being sick. And then you can kill her and you can blame it on, oh, she had COVID. And so this is what these racist white women in the shelters in Texas are trying to accomplish. If I come to the shelters, I do not have COVID. But they're not going to tell you the truth even about who I am. They're not telling the truth about my identity. They're not telling the truth about who my son is. They're not telling the truth about the ethnicity of my child's father. They're not telling the truth about the court case involving my son who was taken away from me illegally in a custody battle by Cynthia Vera when I was released after all the charges were dropped. They're not telling the truth about the police report or why I was arrested. They're not telling the truth about the evidence that he was abusing me. They got a fake investigator named Jim McDougal who worked for the Conroe Police to find out everything about my case and then try to go back and have my information erased about the investigation. So they're not being honest with anybody. And this is letting me know there are good people out there. If you have to lie and cover up what you're doing, then there are people out there who care. Because if the entire world was this wicked, if the entire world wanted an innocent woman dead, then why would you guys have to cover it up? So there are people out there who are not going to stand for this. So this is why I'm not going to these shelters. So, if you notice, I went back to Lily Morris's house to file the police report, and I was trying to play it cool a little bit because they were trying to have us outside in the rain at the bus stop, and people were trying to make me sick in their homes. They were turning the air conditioning down to 60 degrees. They were trying to put 2 fans on me while I was asleep. And then he turned the air conditioning down to 60. And Lamarcus turned the air conditioning down to 60. And Lily Morris and Charles Cross, who are gang members, tried to turn the air conditioning down. And Bianca Hudson was doing it too. Because they were trying to make me sick in their homes. Because people want to try to claim that we have COVID. Now, there are people who really do have this plague. And it's a plague, and I saw it come down from heaven while they were trying to chase me around the country and while they planned to try to molest my children, my little boy, and bring them into a satanic cult where they molest children, where they sex traffic women, and where these high-profile white people, Hispanic and blacks who got money and cars and nice jobs can pretty much cover it up. So they have me sleeping in the back of Lamarcus's truck because he originally was going to allow me to be sleeping outside. So this was the plan for him and James Harris, was to try to infiltrate me by saying they loved me and getting close to me and seeing whatever kind of income I was having to keep myself away from abusers so they could have me on the streets. And this is to be murdered, to be shot, to be robbed, so they could try to take the baby when I give birth and say I was a streetwalker, or to have me sick to where they can try to quarantine me and kill me where people cannot know that I was pregnant. So right now I'm in the back of the truck because I went back to file the police report on Lily Morris and Bianca Hudson when they tried to jump me in the home, knowing that I was pregnant. So they were trying to kill my pregnancy physically, and I had to get away, and I had to, tell them that I will defend myself if you come any further. This was after Lamarcus came after me and told me to come back. So he came after me the first time I left when Bianca tried to hurt me. And then when I came back, it was a setup because Lily Morris and Bianca tried to jump me when I came back in the home after Lamarcus told me to come back and that no one was going to harm me. And so when I already knew they were poisoning me, so I started getting real smart, like, hey, buy me some food from here and here and here and there, places that I didn't feel were involved. And I started showing my belly. When I started showing my belly, he started trying to do things to hurry and get me out of the house. They erased all of the videos, most of the videos of me being pregnant in Lily Morris's home. And so by this point, they were trying to just physically kill the baby. And when I came back, Lily Morris and Bianca tried to jump me while I was on the phone with 911. And HPD did not send an officer hearing these women trying to physically attack me. And Bianca tried to attack me outside with a stick after LaMarcus Sanders brought me back. And he and Boo were gone. So they left me to be jumped by these women. And I had to go up the street and tell Bianca, don't come no further, or you know what time it is, Bianca. And she was coming with a stick. And this was after he told me to come back the first time I left, when Bianca tried to attack me on the video where I was like, black people selling us out and all of this. He came after me. 600 people came after me in their cars, drove after me. You know, they were on foot, you know, and they were trying to get me back into this home, because I was able to kind of get some evidence about what was really going on. And I really was trying to get away. But when I went to the shelter in Conroe, they denied me because I found out that Lily Morris and Bianca Charles Cross and LaMarcus Sanders had stolen my ID, my identification, so they would not let me in the shelter. And my phone was dead with the picture. But the man was like, oh yeah, we're going to have to test you for COVID. And I'm like, you know, I already knew there was something up with that, but the Holy Spirit hadn't really revealed to me what was really going on with that yet. And so then I remember the man at the Salvation office was like, do you want me to call the police for you? Maybe they can help you. And I'm like, why would you call the police just because I'm asking to be in the shelter? So this is the whole plan. They've been trying to get me back in the custody of the police officers who poisoned my pregnancy and tried to have me killed, because the civilians were also involved. And then I shot a white man. And so they are trying to do this for white pride and the American flag. And y'all sitting over here abusing me in the neighborhood, all of y'all. The white people, the black people, the Mexicans, all of y'all was abusing me outside of my home and in my home. And then they sent the white boy, my baby daddy, who had just got out of prison, to come up in my house to abuse me, telling them they were going to give him my apartment and my kid and my car. So you was trying to send him in my home to steal my identity. And then he was attacking me while I was pregnant by him again. And then everybody was watching him attack us in the streets. And I was wondering why they weren't helping. And then he was attacking us in the restaurant where there was a witness, and they tried to cover the witness statement. They tried to cover the footage from what happened in the restaurant, and they tried to intimidate the witness and get the witness to change his statement. But my investigator had gone to interview the witness personally, and he came and told me, this is the fault of the police department. And they had him very shaken up at this point, because I don't think he really realized that he wasn't supposed to... excuse me, my hand is tired, that he wasn't supposed to get the actual evidence. And so he was kind of shaken up when he was telling me this is the fault of the police. And they were like kind of outside the visitation area saying loud stuff like, oh, he think he not going to jail. Like, he been on meth since he was 14. And my baby daddy thinks he's not going to jail. And God says he is. And he has been on meth since he was 14. And Cynthia was allowing grown women in the neighborhood to put